Hello there, everybody, and welcome along to the FIA ABB Formula E World Championship as we head to Monte Carlo for the Monaco E-Prix. Free practice 2 is done and qualifying is about to begin, where we find out who is going to get pole position at the crown of motorsport. My name is Jess Ball, your lead commentator for this weekend, whilst Joshua Birch is doing MotoGP. But alongside, once again, like always, it's Ed Hunter. Ed, interesting practice session. Quite a few crashes in FP1, a few driver changes, but we should be in for a cracking qualifying session.
Well, I think there's just one driver change specifically, and that is Mr. Taylor Barnard filling in for Sam Bird, who's gone and destroyed his hand. We're lucky we didn't lose that. Mortara had a similar accident in FP2. We're lucky he didn't lose his hand as well. I guess he must have learned the old take your hands off the steering wheel trick, and also he locked up a little bit less, not quite as badly as Sam Bird did. So he seemed to get away with that one unscathed, thankfully. But yeah, hopefully Sam Bird, his X-rays don't lead to anything too serious, because it would be such a shame if Sam Bird had to sit out the rest of the season because of that. It seems such an innocuous injury, but we saw Robin Freins as well, that if you have a sudden contact with something and it jolts the wheel around, it can, with no power steering in these cars, it can be a real danger to these drivers' wrists and hands in general. So yeah, Formula E can be a hand killer. Killer maybe is the wrong word, but hand injurer is probably more appropriate. But yeah, Monaco is such a challenging circuit, so unforgiving, so tight, twisty, and qualifying is really going to be where we see these cars at the absolute peak, at the absolute limit of what these EVs are capable of. And hopefully we're going to see a very, very close contest for pole position. But Mitch Evans leading both practice sessions. He seems very intent on walking away with this one. We'll have to see what Evans can do in the first group, because he's out in it.
Yeah, your mic cut off a little bit there for me, or were you finished speaking? I don't know, but yeah, he's going to be in the first group as well. But obviously, track evolution, that's going to be quite key. So I think it might be quite faster in the second session as well. But we obviously got Mitch Evans top in both sessions. Eddie Mortara was doing quite well as well. Van Dorn. Jornet Verne struggling a little bit in free practice 2, but let's just hope it's a bit of free practice 2 blues and he can get back going in the qualifying session, because that's where it all counts. But for the likes of Mitch Evans looking really good to potentially maybe get a first race win at Monaco, because he hasn't done it. Da Costa has done it, but in 2021, but no, there is Mitch Evans. But Jaguar's looking good.
Yeah, indeed they are. So the powertrain seems to be working well, but we could see a few surprises. We know Nissan were quite strong here last year with both the factory team and McLaren. But yeah, Nissan are McLaren rather are sort of down on their best driver. They've lost one of their fastest drivers, so they're all going to be pretty much completely reliant on Jake Hughes, because Taylor Barnard realistically is still going to be getting to grips with this car and getting up to speed with Formula E. The guy's only 19 years old, so he's definitely the youngest driver on the grid. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I think if Taylor Barnard is lucky, he might be able to sneak a point or two, but I think realistically it's going to be a bit of an uphill struggle. I don't just mean the uphill run into Beaurefarge, but yeah, it's going to be, like you say, there will be a bit of track evolution, because Monaco is sort of used by road users for most of the year, but in terms of racing, it's not used other than for Monaco GP Historic and of course the Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix, which is of course the most famous event. But Formula E hopefully looking to run a close second or maybe a third realistically in the all-time events that Monaco holds each year. But yeah, interesting names elsewhere in the group to look out for. Pascal Wehrlein, of course, and Oliver Rowland up there in the championship. We got Maximilian Gunther in this group as well, along with Mitch Evans. Robin Freins is in this group. Da Costa as well. And Nico Muller is another one to watch out for too. Possibly Sergio Sede Camara, who's had some good underdog performances in qualifying as well. So I think those could be really big factors here in this first group session.
Yeah, both the ERT boys doing very well in Misano last time out. Obviously, there was a race where literally anyone could win, but we saw Seta Kamara, and that Dan Ticktum took advantage. Sette Camara, I believe, got a penalty in race 1 of that weekend, whereas Dan Ticktum moved up for a little bit. Is there a sign of things to come for ERT? Because they were obviously struggling from the team they once were. Do you think things were on the up for them with those 2 great performances in Misano?
Well, I think Misano was a bit of a special case because they didn't qualify particularly well, but they were able to save energy in the draft. And there will be a bit of that here at Monaco. But unfortunately, overtaking, you're not going to see cars going 3 wide, especially at some of the points on this track, even down the start-finish straight. You might see 1 or 2 moves, but people will be going 2 wide at most, because otherwise it's just a bit insanely dangerous to run 3 wide at Monaco. But I could be proven wrong in the race. We'll see. But but yeah, I think ERT, it's sort of both the drivers are a lot better than the car is, and it's taking some very, very clever management to try and to get the most out of it, and to get those points when they're on offer, essentially, as it seems a replay of Sam Bird trying to brush the camera out of the way with his injured hand there, it looks like.
Yeah.
So
we just saw a replay of how Sam Bird crashed in FP1 this morning, which forced him to out for the rest of the weekend. Sam Bird, obviously he had a good result in Tokyo, I think it was, but things started to go a bit downhill for him after Sao Paulo. But things are starting to go downhill from then on, which is a bit of a shame for Sam Bird, because we know he's a capable driver, but you can see Taylor Barnard getting ready suit up for it as well. But yeah, we also got the Gen 3 Evo cars coming into force next season in Season 11. That was launched this weekend. Quite an interesting car as well. We could see the cars go up to 2 seconds of that faster in Monaco next year, which is a frightening thought at times, due to Monaco's quite quick anyway. But if the Formula 1 cars could do it, FE could definitely do it. But God, hope that they don't make it bigger, because otherwise they can't overtake.
Yeah, I think I think it's not just making the cars bigger, it's also making it so that the racing is still relatively good at all the circuits, not just Monaco. And it does feel a little bit like Formula E. Increasingly, the focus seems to be on saving money by going to permanent racetracks like we saw at Misano last time out. We're seeing Shanghai on the calendar as well. There's even talks of moving away from XL in London to Silverstone, although that's not been confirmed yet, as Jeff Dodds pointed out on the FE Bar show a few weeks ago after Misano. But yeah, it's certainly interesting for the direction of the sport to see where it's going. The Gen 3, great performance. We see green light at the end of the pit lane, and all of Group 1 immediately trying to get out on track. But yeah, I think the 4-wheel drive is going to be exciting. I think the fact that 30% of the cars are made from is recycled as well, I think is a very good to see renewables part of the Formula E supply chain, because obviously the supply chain was a big worry when the Gen 3 car launched at the beginning of Season 9, that people were worried about running out of parts and stuff. So it's great to see we finally got a more carbon neutral supply chain. I think that's important for what it's worth. But yeah, I think there's still a lot to see with Gen 3 Evo, but we've probably got to shift our attention, Jess, to this qualifying session we're about to see, because this is going to be really, really crucial for about half of our championship contenders in this group, because they've got to make sure they don't fall at the first hurdle, or if they do fall, they get as close to not falling as they can, because that's all going to affect their grid position.
Yes, qualifying is now begun, and don't forget, there are 2 groups. The fastest 4 drivers will make their way into the duels. I'm thinking about IndyCar later on, with not IndyCar. But yeah, fastest 4 drivers get through to the duels from each group, which make 8 drivers, and then the ones who do not make it, that will set the grid from 9th to all the way to the back of the grid in 20 seconds. So yeah, should be interesting indeed. Get your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to do well as well. It is nice. It is quite cloudy at the moment. Bit of sun as well in Monaco. You can see the swimming pool section there as well. Lovely helicopter camera. And as you were saying in free practice too earlier, I'm not surprised to see a lot of cars going out on circuit right now. It's crucial that they get their banker laps on the board very early on, because you never know what could happen at the end.
Yeah, we could see yellow flags and red flags aplenty as we see Robin Freins going through the first corner and getting right up against the wall. So this is where all that practice in FP1 and FP2 is going to come in handy. Drivers like to have a predictable car when they're getting right up close to the barriers, as Robin Freins is. We know a podium finisher at this circuit in the past. So he's certainly got a good turn of speed, good instincts, good car control. Robin Freins famously, he's trained in Formula E several occasions in the past, and of course on pole position most recently in Berlin last year for Abt in that wet session. So Robin Freins, not traditionally thought of as a qualifying driver, but he's certainly surprised people in the past, and he's another driver that's still looking for that first Monaco victory in Formula E, and envision the previous team's champions desperately need a good result here to get their title defense back on track. So Freins, as he goes over the curb through the chicane and out towards Tabak, looking pretty solid on this first run.
He is looking quite solid as well through the swimming pool. It's another left, right, left for Fright, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle to start with, but he seems to be doing it A-OK. And one wrong error for Robin Freins in that section, and that will probably put him to the wall. So through Rascassi goes, past the pit lane and in towards Anthony Nose as it takes a narrow line through towards the final corner. What's it going to be for the Envision car as he goes fastest at the moment? With a time of a 1 minute and 31.853, Mitch Evans goes up to the line. He goes top with a 131.755. We've got Pascal Wehrlein on a lap right now. He's been looking quite good in his Porsche car, and he goes second fastest. Maximilian Gunther's on a lap. We got Taylor Vias da Costa. He could only manage fifth. Yeah, Gunther goes fastest with 131.654. Gunther, purple middle sector. He's looking quite good, especially where you gain time for that. So pretty good. Gunther, Evans, Wehrlein, Freins at the moment, the only time to go through. But we got Oliver Rowland about to finish his lap. He's been looking good in all two sets at the moment, and he comes across the line. He's top.
Yeah, there we go. 68 thousandths quicker than Maximilian Gunther, as we see a replay of Mitch Evans hustling if the car through the casino square, of course. But yeah, certainly first blood to Nissan and Roland on the first runs. So it'll be interesting to see if Freins can maybe sneak his way in, and maybe because obviously Roland, Gunther, Evans, Wehrlein were sort of the ones we expected to go through. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any giant killing feats that go on here. Wehrlein, though, on his second lap, going even faster in the first sector, though. So, although he does seem to be backing off to let his teammate through, which is probably quite sensible there.
Yeah, very respectable as well with da Costa. Won in 2021, the race where I vividly remember the Monaco E-Prix as one of the best races in Formula E history, in my opinion,
why are we
around that
looking at
circuit.
Anthony Joshua not qualifying, Jess? This is terrible TV direction. Anthony Joshua
Yeah,
filling his pockets with a cassette player.
I know what Josh will be looking at right now. I'll be like, don't show Anthony Joshua, show the action. Sorry, Josh, if you're watching this back, by the way. As,
that's famous clip from Diria that I was not at all aware of or watching.
Yeah, we don't know if it's either Formula E during the pictures or if it's Tele Monte Carlo. I think it might be both. Because of the light system.
Be on track might be TCM, but this stuff we look at Russell O'Hagan, ERT acting team principal.
It's
like Aurora and Whisper. I think Whisper do the VTs and Aurora do the on track stuff. Is what I understand the arrangement is.
All right, so a bit of both then. I just hope they don't show the wrong things, please, because I don't want to show. I want to show action at the moment, but there's not much action going on at the moment. So your running order per qualifying so far, we got Oliver Rowland out on top, Gunther second, as we're seeing a replay. Is that Gunther?
It is, yeah.
Oh, that's clipping of the curb once again for him. But he's still second, 68,000 slower than Oliver Rowland in P2 at the moment. Mitch Evans in third, Pascal Wehrlein in fourth. Not that far from Wehrlein is Robin Freins, which is 44,000 separating them. Seth Kamara not that far behind either. Nico Muller in seventh. Then we got Degrassi, Nick de Vries, da Costa down in 10th. Could his season just get any worse after Mazzano. He DNF'd in the second race in Mazzano. He got disqualified in race 1 as well. And he's not had the best of laps so far. But hopefully, again, it's just a feeler lap and he could bounce himself back up towards the end of the session. Because if this is pace, this is not good for Da Costa.
Yeah, and he's, of course, won here before, Jess, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In that 21 race that you mentioned. And it's a track that he, of course, loves. So it will certainly hurt to be that far down. But the Porsche powertrain has certainly got the potential to get into the duels. So Da Costa won't give up just yet. And certainly De Vries has done a solid lap to sort of get himself in front of Da Costa. So it certainly feels like whatever happened, Antonio just couldn't hook it up on the first runs then. But it will be interesting to see what the comeback is. Obviously, for Maserati MSG, Monaco Sports Group, that team, this is effectively second home race in a row. It was home race for Maserati last time in Misano, and now it's the home race of the Monaco, the Venturi side of the team that's been running that squad since day 1 in Formula E. So Gunther up in P2, looking good to get through to the duels. Could be a big threat like he was in Tokyo when he won, of course.
Yes.
As you look at Robin Freins about to start what could be his last flying or penultimate flying lap then here at Monaco.
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes and 38 seconds still to go as Robin Freins heads towards Sandevot. And as Mark likes to call in the F1 game, no heroics into Sandevot as he goes up the hill into near Casino as well, as we're seeing a side-by-side action with De Vries as well as he's about to start his lap time. De Vries currently sitting down in 9th, Freins in 5th. So Freins needs to find quite a bit of time. I would say the 130s, 129s will see him safely through, but you never know with Robin Freins as he heads towards my favourite part of the track, the Mirraborough hairpin. And I think there could be a lot of traffic there once we head to the race as well later on. But we've seen overtakes there in the past in Formula E. So I wonder how it's going to be in the Gen 3 cars later on. As Freins is purple in the first sector, Ed.
Yeah, I love, by the way, and how the F1 games, how they've used a very, very similar script for all the tracks for the past 10 years. So no heroics into Sandevot has just become this repeated phrase, not just by Mark Bruce, but by pretty much all the race engineers that Codemasters have used in those games. But yeah, Freins looking good through Sector 1, who's very, very close to the wall out of Sandevot. Personal best in Sector 2, a little bit held up by the Apt, but the Apt gets out of the way immediately through swimming pool, so that probably won't lose him any time. So it's all about this run to the line through Antonio's then for Robin Freins. Can he get himself into the top 4 and into the duels? He's only done it on a couple of occasions so far this season, and it's the fastest time.
Fastest time currently for Robin Freins with a 131.168. We got De Vries, who goes 3rd fastest. That's decent from Nick De Vries right now in the number 21, just behind Oliver Rowland by 12 thousandths. We got Da Costa on a lap. Personal best Sector 2, but Sector 1 he was struggling a little bit. He goes up to the line, and what's it going to be for Da Costa? He goes top. He goes top, but Verline's going even quicker. Now he goes top. Gunther goes 2nd fastest, 131.058. Times are going very, very quickly as we only got a minute and 35 seconds left of this session. I do believe we got one of the Nissan's about to start a lap or finish a lap.
Evans.
Evans on a run.
Oh, and Evans stays 7th. Okay, is this him just starting his lap?
Yeah, Evans is about to start his lap right now because Evans currently sitting in 7th in the drop zone, but he needs to find 7/10 as interesting enough for Gunther. He was purple in the middle sector. That's where he gained most of the time.
Yep, so that would be all the slow, twisty stuff then, Sector 2 at Monaco. But yeah, Mitch Evans now coming up to Sector 2 himself. It will show on the screen him regenning. That's literally just because the brake pedal, the car is so efficient that it can't not regen, essentially, when you go on the brakes. But yeah, got to make sure the steering lock around Lowe's hairpin is good. And now downhill towards Portier, where Ayrton Senna famously crashed out while leading by nearly a minute in 1988. And it's purple in the first sector for Evans as he goes through the tunnel. This is looking like a good lap, Jess.
This is looking like a good lap for Mitch Evans as he's using his regen effectively. For some reason, the gaps are not showing on our live timing, so I will see if I could fix that for you. There we go. That's a lot better. That looks better, doesn't it?
Purple through Sector 2 as
Purple
well.
Sector 2 for Mitch Evans.
So he's going to knock out Frines here if he keeps this up.
Yeah. So checker flag's about to drop. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Checker flag has dropped as Mitch Evans goes up to the line, and is it going to be enough for P1 at the moment? Yes, it is. 130.697. We've got Oliver Rowland in the Nissan. At the moment, he's in the drop zone, and that won't be good for him if he gets in the drop zone now. He goes up to the line as Ed's camera's gone for a little bit. Oh, there we go. He's gone. As Oliver Rowland, he does not make it to the duels. He's out of the duels for the first time in a few races.
Oh, and look at Sede Kamara spinning the rear tyres as he goes through the swimming pool chicanes, just desperately trying to do a giant killing feat in that ERT. Yeah, Rowland just didn't quite hook up. He was doing personal bests, but he just didn't quite hook up that last. That Frines, though, purple in the middle sector, but not faster in the first sector, though. So it's all or nothing for Robin Frines. Sede Kamara goes 6th fastest, so just ahead of Oliver Rowland there. So Rowland really lost out when the track was at its best. He just couldn't quite get enough time out of that car. Frines crosses the line. Is it good enough? No, I think he's just missed out, Jess.
He just missed out, and he was second in free practice too, so that was a huge shock.
Behind DaCosta.
Huh? Sorry?
0.02 of a second behind DaCosta was Robin Frines there, as De Vries out-qualifies Rowland as well.
Yeah, so De Vries, that was a decent lap from De Vries. I think it's just Nato and DaCosta. I don't think DaCosta needs to finish this lap, to be honest, but we know Nato's on the lap, so the more that DaCosta can get in the bubble, then that's good for him. He stays 4th fastest and still 2,000ths, and I don't think Nato's improving. Nope, he's in last place in the duel. So we've got Mitch Evans, Verline, Maximilian Gunther, and Antonio Villas DaCosta make it through to the duels. That is redemption for DaCosta, who won here in 2021, and also good for Maximilian Gunther as well. But Robin Frines and Sede Kamara just missing out, Ed.
Yeah, it was looking a bit shaky for DaCosta there, but finally he was able to just about get some good luck there with Robin Frines just falling short. I think it was really that first sector that cost Frines, because he was really quick in the middle sector, and then the final sector was about even with DaCosta. So yeah, that ended up being decisive, but it is most of the usual suspects then are championship contenders: Evans, Verline, Gunther, DaCosta. Muller and Sede Kamara, good efforts from both of them, but unfortunately they couldn't quite do enough to sneak into the duels on this occasion, just behind Robin Frines. And as you say, De Vries actually doing a little bit better than normal. Obviously, we'll have to see what Mortara can do once he's out there in Group 2. But that's encouraging for Mahindra, because they've had a bit of a dreadful season so far. No points, despite Mortara getting very, very close in Tokyo, crossing the line in 6th. But unfortunately being disqualified for power overuse. So rules are rules. I didn't see anyone crying over that one, but they seem to be crying over DaCosta's disqualification. So there we go. But yeah, I guess when someone wins, it's always more frustrating when they get disqualified, because they get to go on the podium, get to celebrate, but they don't get to keep the points at the end of the day. But 5 hours later. But anyway, we'll have to see how Jake Dennis and company go in Group 2, because Cassidy's in this group as well. Hughes, Mortara, who I already mentioned. Tictum could be a bit of a threat as well. And let's not forget Fenestraus. The Nissan powertrains looked pretty solid, but the Jaguars looked to be the strongest. So I think Cassidy and Buemi are probably my two picks to go for. And I think maybe someone like Dennis, Jev, Tictum, or Mortara could maybe sneak through into that final spot.
I don't think Tictum has ever made it into the duels, but I'm going to go with Dennis Cassidy.
Last season he did a few times.
All right. I'm going to go with Dennis Cassidy, Hughes, and I'm going to go with Van Dorn as my picks as well. But whilst we wait for the ads to go away, let's hear from let's go back to the team at Formula E, and let's go to Tom Brooks.
Always a bridesmaid, never the bride. And he's looking good on it so far. It's early days so far in qualifying,
team at Formula E. Let's go to Tom Brooks.
I always feel uncomfortable with that expression. Never the bride, always a bridesmaid. I think it looks fun being a bridesmaid.
It's a good point, actually.
There's a lot of pressure being a bride.
Well, it depends on if you've got bridezilla to deal with or not, doesn't it, really? You know?
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, I only speak from experience of family members and so on and so forth. Anywho, Group B qualifying along the way next for the drivers to contend with. Another 11 will go out and another 4 will go through.
That's an amazing shot, isn't it? You get a sense of the town.
So then Group B qualifying about to get underway here in Monaco. This is our second lot of drivers ready to go out on track. Jake Dennis, Nick Cassidy, John-Eric Verne, Jake Hughes, Stoffel Van Dorn, Sebastian Buemi, Sasha Fenestraz, Dan Ticktum, Jehan Daruvula, Edo Mortara, and then Taylor Barnard down there for Neil McLaren, making his debut here this weekend following a crash in FP1 for Sam Bird, putting him out due to a hand injury. Confirmation now we have that he's broken one of the bones in his left hand and will require further treatment. Here is Taylor Barnard, the youngster, ready to go. Green flag now is about to fly as we get the set.
We have got the main action heading underway soon for Group B. And like we were saying, Taylor Barnard is going to make his debut here this morning. It is early morning, just bear with me. So we got Dennis, Cassidy, Verne, Hughes, Van Dorn, Buemi, Fenestraz, Ticktum, Daruvula, Mortara and Barnard in Group B. Now we got race control message, Ed. Car 51 under investigation, technical infraction.
Nico Muller.
That was from the last group.
Yep, so clearly Nico Muller might have had a power spike or something over the curbs, and that might be what's investigated, unless there's something else going on at Apt. But I doubt it'd be anything more than a power spike. We did see, remember, Fenestraz losing pole position here, because in the final, he went over the curbs, got the fastest time, and then had it almost immediately taken away. So this is the rule book working as intended. And obviously, even though it's not the driver or the team's fault going over the curb, making it spike for that brief second, it's against the rules to use more than the allotted voltage, essentially. So that's why he might potentially be in trouble with the stewards there. But let's hope that whatever is being investigated here, he's cleared and he gets to keep that position, even though it's not high position on the grid.
Rules are rules at the end of the day. So if he loses out on his position, then it's going to be huge, and it's got to be investigated soon, because otherwise the people that could be that are just in the bubble for the duels, like Robin France, for example, he could get a seat as well for the duels and get to compete in it. So these are
Ryan's qualified ahead of Muller. Muller was like 8th or 9th in group. So
right. That's fine. I was thinking about Gunther for some weird reason.
I think Maximilian is safe to us.
Yeah, Maximilian is safe, thank goodness. As Buemi going purple first sector right now, and that's closely, I think, being followed by someone else who's gone fastest at the moment, as Buemi now goes through the casino section. Wants to make it into the duels as well as Robin Fight as well. I wonder if they can meet together potentially in the duels. It has happened with teammates versus teammates. Going to be kind of like a conflict of interest.
That would be difficult, because
that would be difficult.
Didn't get into the duels because he was 5th. So
yeah,
but yeah, Buemi's got a better chance here because there's only 2 Jaguar powertrain cars here,
it's
and
early.
no Porsches as well, apart from the Andretti of Jake Dennis.
It is early morning.
It is 10 o'clock, Jess.
Yeah, it is 10 o'clock, and I'm to be fair, I do have a bit of a cold as well, so I'm not feeling 100%. But we are getting there as Buemi heads towards the final few corners of Anthony Nose, and he's going to set the first time on the board. Cassidy's on a run as well, and he's not that far off behind Buemi at the moment. Buemi goes top then with a 131.426. Then Cassidy goes second with a 131.482. Jake Dennis goes first, but we got the 2 Depenskis, P1 and P2, with John-Eric Verne in P1 and Van Dorn just coming across the line in P2 on our timing screen. So both Depenskis doing very well at the moment. Daruvula goes 9th fastest. We have got, I think, one of the Jaguars going up to the line. That's Nick, that was Nick Cassidy goes 4th. We got 2 of the McLarens. We got Hughes in 2nd. Good for him. Barnard at the moment still getting used to a Formula E car in quali trim, goes 11th fast. So those are your timings so far, and it's looking good for John-Eric Verne and Jake Hughes at the moment, but separated by 2 temps, Ed.
Yeah, the DS Penske's really bring it out the bag, so they were clearly hiding something. Of course, they've got their special black and gold. Well, they're already a black and gold team, but they've got a much more. It looks a bit more like the old 1970s, 1980s black and gold Lotus livery that they've got on at the moment. So I guess it's just a nice Monaco thing, I don't think there's any particular reason otherwise why they've done it. But yeah, Verne, who you thought was struggling after FP2, seems to have got it out of band 1:31.0, which is pretty comparable to the times we were seeing in Group 1. So the track heating up and getting a bit faster. And yeah, we saw a Gunfer get through with the DS powertrain in the Maserati, and it seems like it's working well on the factory team as well. So I'll be interested to see if Hughes can match that on the next couple of runs, because Nissan would love to have a Nissan-powered car in the duels. Bohemia ahead of Cassidy is interesting as well, because I thought Cassidy would have a better lap there. The winner here from last year, of course.
Yes, as we are seeing one of the Penske's go through the swimming pool chicane now. It's hard to tell which one it is, actually, because I did see it. Oh, it's John Eric Verne.
On the front.
Yeah, the 45
25
on
for
the
John Eric. Number 2 is Van Dorn.
Oh, yes, number 2 for Van Dorn, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see it. I could see it when he's in the pit lane as well. So
the only thing in white on that car, Jess.
Yeah, it's the only thing in white. Everything else is gold, which does look very nice, by the way. So in danger at the moment is Nick Cassidy by 5/100 of a second, who has won here before, won in 2023 as well. So he is the reigning Monaco E-Prix winner from last time out. But again, we saw people in the bubble last time, and they managed to make themselves through. So it's not over yet for Nick Cassidy. 130s will see it safely through as well. As we went on not how long to go until the end of qualifying, but I'm shocked that Cassidy and Dennis are still in the drop zone, but this is probably the closest groups out of all the groups so far, so it could be anyone's guess on who makes it through due to this narrow track.
There are only 2 groups, Jess, so one of them would naturally have to be closer than the other, but you're right, it's a little bit unpredictable here, isn't it? Because I think we were a bit surprised. We thought Cassidy would get through easily, and Bohemia as well, and it looks like they're only just on the bubble, and one of them might end up knocking out the other. But yeah, Hughes, who of course was on pole here last year, looking good for another dual appearance, which is exactly what McLaren needed. But yeah, Jake Dennis, reigning champion. Obviously, he might be able to make qualifying, traditionally not a strength for Andretti this season, but he might be able to make places from outside the top 8. But getting into the duels would be a big deal for Andretti. So Dennis is really going to have to produce something special here to get that Porsche powertrain and match what the factory team did in Group 1.
Yes, because factory team doing very well, of course, as we've got some people out on the circuit. We've got the number 37, 33, one of the Envision to just come out on the circuit as well. Most people are going out just because they want some clear air. They don't want to get into some traffic. I think we've got 3 cars that just passed the hairpin on our driver tracker right now, which you can see on the right-hand side. As we only got the 2 McLarens in the pit, so they probably want some cleaner air more than anything as well. As we're on board with Dennis now on his outlap. I'll be shocked if Dennis doesn't get through, to be honest. But we know Dennis; he likes to climb his way up from where he started in qualifying. He has good race pace, more than quali pace recently this season. He tends to pick up podiums when he qualifies outside the duel sometimes.
Yeah, he did get a couple of pole positions last year as well, but
I'm talking about this year, Jet. I'm talking about this year, Ed.
I know, but it's just the implication that he's not a good qualifier. But yeah, Andretti, it's definitely been a strength for Andretti this season, because we saw NATO right at the back of Group 1 as well, and he's not had the best qualifying this season either. And Andretti have given themselves a lot of work to do with qualifying low down the grid. But their focus seems to be much more on the race than on qualifying. And it makes sense when you think about it, given that there are going to be overtaking opportunities in the race. But yeah, I think Jake Dennis ideally would love to be starting a little bit further forward than 6th, which was probably going to translate to sort of 12th or 11th on the grid if he stays there at the moment. He'd love to sneak into the top 10 if possible, and especially top 8, because that's dual territory. But as we look now at Mortara, that's another team that would dearly love Jules' appearance. They did it in Tokyo earlier this season. And Mortara, definitely the stronger of the 2 Mahindra drivers so far this season. So both of them have come somewhat close to scoring points, but Mortara closest than De Vries. So this lap, personal best in the first sector, but he's going to need something special in the last couple of sectors to sneak through here. As we look at Ennis Strauss in the other picture, that's the Nissan that's really struggling at the moment, with Roland being knocked out. Fenestraz desperately needs to redo his heroics from last year as well, after what's been a pretty anonymous season so far, it must be said. Fenestraz hasn't really shined as much as Roland has. As Mortara getting right up towards the wall at Tabak.
Yeah, it's really tight towards that wall as well, and Mortara is using as much as he possibly can to gain the lap time, of course, but he's about to finish his lap time, and so is Fenestraz. So Mortara up first. What can he do then? He's currently sitting in a P8 in the qualifying order, but it's going to be P1 by 0.003 of a second to Jean-Eric Vergne. Sacha Fenestraz is up next. He's sitting in 8th fastest. He goes 5th. No, the time is taking a while to reset. There we go. He goes 5th fastest. Purple final sector. So you'll find a lot of time through there. Jake Dennis is in 9th currently, but we're riding on board with Dan Ticktum, who's 10th fastest right now. He's 1/10 off Jake Dennis, his nearest rival, as he heads towards Raskas. Very tight through there as well, as we not had long to go until the end of the session. Can Dan Ticktum get into the duels for the first time this season? He's only got 1 or 2 laps to do it. He goes up to the line. He stays 10th fastest. He did not improve at all on that lap, so I'm thinking he might go again. As we won't get to team radios this weekend, unless we hear them from Tom Brooks when we go in the breaks. But at the moment, you won't get to hear it, because otherwise that will involve a lot of stuff going on board as well. So it's Mortara, Vergne, Daruvala in P3. I think things could change as people on their laps now, but Daruvala at the moment could go through to the duels. That could be a surprise.
Yeah, Mortara and Daruvala are really benefiting from a hotter track, more grip on their second runs. But as you see, Ticktum now has upped his pace. Yeah, personal best first sector on this run.
Must be the banker for last lap then.
Yeah, it could be that, because these Hankook tyres are a little bit weird in the way that they work. It could be that the first run was just because he wasn't up in any of the sectors on that previous lap, Ticktum. So I think maybe he was getting them in, or that could just be the natural pace of the ERT, and it's this second lap that's a bit quicker because he's feeling a bit more confident. But 10 seconds to go in the session, so it's all or nothing now to get into the duels. So this could be very, very tight now, with the track absolutely at its peak conditions, and everyone having to make sure that they don't falter here at the final hurdle.
Yeah, they can't afford to falter in the final hurdle, because otherwise it would be game over for them. I believe it's Dan Ticktum going up to the line next. Is it going to get enough for him to go to the duels as it stands? As my pitch, no, isn't it? My pitches are freezing like quite a bit, as I'm relying on live timings at the moment. As Bremy,
yeah, same here.
Bremy goes second fastest with a 1:30.811. And Jake Hughes is on the bubble. Jake Hughes is on the bubble. And I'm a bit worried he could get knocked out the duels. Yeah, Hughes is out. The pole sitter last time out in Misano. He's not out. Van Dorn is purple in the middle sector. And can he beat his teammate and go fastest? We'll have to wait and see. Van Dorn up to the line. I'm going to refresh the pictures in a minute. And he goes top. Van Dorn goes top. We're just waiting for Fenestraz, Daruvala, Dennis and Mortara to complete laps. We know a lot of these guys could go quicker, but we've got... I think it's
going quicker.
Daruvala's going quicker. He's personal best in both sectors right now. He's only got a few more corners to negotiate. Mortara's on a lap as well, but he's not improving. Mortara's not improving, so he could get knocked out. Fenestraz improving now in 8th fastest, so we can find some time in there. As Mortara, he is not out of the duels. What about Daruvala? Daruvala is just knocked out as well. I believe then that is it. So the ones who qualified, the two Penske's of Van Dorn and Vergne, Nick Cassidy joining Mitch Evans, because Mitch Evans qualified in the first session, and Sebastian Bremy is one of his best qualifyings of the year in this first heat. And he gets to go through to the duels as well. So knocked out are Daruvala, Mortara, Fenestraz, Hughes, Dennis, Ticktum, and Barnard.
Yeah, good showing from Daruvala, though, I thought, because he very, very nearly got through there. And we thought this was going to be a Jaguar track. Maybe it's actually a DS powertrain track, the way things are going at the moment in this quali session, because they seem to be just as strong as the Jaguars, if not stronger.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm a bit sad to see Daruvala getting knocked out, because the things were just so tight between them. And obviously Barnard, his first outing in the McLaren. He is last, but again, we wouldn't expect him to do that much because he's still getting a feel for the circuit. So, but he's not far. He's 7/10 off Tictum, so he'll get quicker, I think, as hopefully as the weekend goes on in the race, and he'll probably get used to it. He might be better in race trim, but yeah. So we got the duels coming up, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think we weren't really expecting too much from Taylor Barnard. So to be 1.7 seconds off the pace, given the late call-up, I think that's a pretty solid effort. But yeah, all British drivers in Group 2 right at the back of the timing sheets. But it is the Belgian on top, which is great for Stoffel van Dorn. He's not really had a whole lot to smile about this season. So good to see him pull a lap out the bag. And he has been solid in qualifying, so let's see what he can do. Because I think he very nearly got on pole in was it, I forget which race it was, but there was a race earlier this, I think it was Sao Paulo, where he lost out by 0.02 of a second or something like that. So let's see if he can replicate a performance today. But yeah, for DS Penske, getting 2 cars in there is crucial for Jaguar as well. So both of those teams are going to be looking good come the race.
They are indeed, as I'm trying to get the audio for Formula E sorted, but it's deciding to not play ball with me at the moment. But we have a bit of a gap now between the Group B session and the duels for the qualifying. And for those of you that don't know how the duels are going to work, so there are 2 drivers per heat in the quarterfinal, and the winners of those duels get through to the semi-finals. And then there's 4 drivers competing against each other. 2 drivers per matchup in the semi-finals, and then 1 driver from each duel will get through into the finals, and then the winner of that will get pole position. So why is my thing deciding to pause? I do not know, but I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be the first of the duels, but the timings have not updated, so it's hard to tell. But who are your standouts in qualifying that could do well in the duels, do you think, Ed?
I think Mitch Evans, given his pace in practice, has got to be an obvious pick. I think Van Dorn potentially could pull it out of the bag again, because, again, another previous winner of this event from Season 8, if I'm not mistaken. Or he certainly did very well here in Season 8. I can't remember if he actually won or not. I'm pretty sure he did. Who else to look out for in those group stages? I think Gunther could potentially be a surprise package as well. And yeah, I wouldn't count out Boemi as well, who is another previous pole sitter on the old configuration of this layout, but certainly has lost none of his pace over the years. So I'm just getting the Lego cars ready for the duel so we can keep track of who we've got to look out for.
Yeah, of course, your Lego cars. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Jess. They're still here.
Yes.
They're still here.
Josh will get...
Only issue with Dragger have got the asymmetrical livery for Cassidy and Evans, so I'm just going to have to reuse Evans' car because I haven't got 2 Jaguars.
Fair enough. So the first of the duels is Gunther versus Wehrlein, but whilst we wait for the duels to take place, because we're going to be waiting for a bit of a while, let's hand it over to the FIA Formula E team and Tom Brooks.
In the sunshine, as we look at the DS Penske garage and Stoffel van Dorn making his way out. I was just wondering who that was there, because the 2 drivers have obviously got unique liveries on their...
I think it's gone quiet, Jess, on stream, because I'm just playing it now and I'm not hearing anything. There's me.
A and B. Going to start with Mitch Evans, though, James. You touched on just the way his car looks and how confident he's looking.
I mean, his car looks as confident as he does. I mean, we were just watching at the chicane there. When he takes the curve, the car's just so settled. He looks so good today. I mean, topping every free practice, topping his group. He's on fire. Yeah,
he's looking good. Another man that just continues to impress, DC. We watched him over in Italy. Italy, take a win. Pascal Wehrlein gets themselves into those duels again. Just looking great in that Porsche.
Yeah, he's man and machine, perfect harmony. He's just systematically going about his job, very confident. I've got to say, Da Costa got closer to him than he has done of late, but nonetheless, he's still clearly the team leader there.
Oliver Rowland not making it. He's been trending in the right direction over the last couple of weeks. Is it a big shock, or is it just one of those situations where this track is very specific to people's driving styles?
It is a big shock, especially as Nissan powertrain was so strong last year. They were the top 3 cars on the grid last year. Not making it at all, I think, with any of their powertrains into the duels is a bit of a shock, yes.
Yeah. I think we're all a little bit shocked by it. We'll see if we can come back a little bit later on now. But now we can head to Karun, who's got some analysis from the qualifying session.
Yeah, thank you, JJ. Two of the biggest disappointments, really, I think, are the drivers 2nd and 3rd in the championship at the moment. Oliver Rowland in Group A ended up 9th. Jake Dennis in Group B ended up 9th. So let's take a look at Rowland's lap, because his first 2 sectors were up, actually. But you could see as he came through to back, his hands seesawing at the wheel a little bit there. I'll just slow it down as we get into the second bar swimming pool. It just doesn't seem to have the car and the grip underneath him to confidently attack the entries. Coming up to Raskas, again the car squirming around, under braking. But just watch as we come up to Anthony Nose, the last corner here. He gets a big snap of oversteer at the apex. That would have put him wide on that curb, but also would have compromised the way he picked up the throttle and really cost him time on the run up to the line. So I think that there cost him at the end. I don't know if it would have been enough to get in the duels, but he certainly lost out. Now, Jake Dennis's middle sector wasn't great on the last lap, and I wonder if having that car in front was a bit of a distraction for him. I think it was Sasha Fenestras, but was just going on board here as he's attacking the curbs and he's on all the right bits of the track, but it just didn't happen for him in those slowest corners. It just didn't seem like in that middle sector he was able to unlock the grip and performance he needed. Let's go have a look at the braking for the chicane before we go back up to commentary here. And it's decent braking stability, but for whatever reason, Jake Dennis just didn't have the performance he needed from that Andretti car to progress. And both of them, as I said, have ended up 9th on the grid.
Yeah, thank you very much, Karun. He did some analysis there, obviously, on Oliver Rowland's qualifying there. Over in Italy, big disappointment, that final lap. Where he runs out of energy. How does he kind of get his mind into a place of positivity going in today, especially given off the back of that disappointment just now?
I think the whole team were in shock. I mean, it was a software error ultimately that led to him running out of energy at the wrong point on the final lap. But to pick yourself back up from that when you've got such a run of good form going and you're leading the championship, and then to be just have that win taken away from you almost because of a mistake, it's painful for the whole team.
Yeah, it is indeed. Right, we've got the duels coming up very soon, and I think Nicky is with someone special who knows a thing or two about knocking people out.
Always brings the glitz and the glam, and well, there is one guy here who needs no introduction at all. Anthony Joshua, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you here to the Formula E race in Monaco. How's it going?
All good, thank you for having me, and thank you for that warm welcome.
Should have worn my heels. You're in the Nissan garage. What have you been doing? I saw you earlier giving a few boxing tips to the team.
Yes, but the main focus is Formula E, not boxing today. But I spoke to the team, I'm learning, understanding how the track works, understanding how the actual, not the engine, but the motor of the car works. All cars are identically the same. The steering is a lot easier as well, lighter, so they can pick up a lot more speed, and how the qualifying systems work. I'm just honoured to watch these amazing athletes do their job, really.
Now, we're in the garage of Oliver Rowland, who's just missed out on going through to the duels. Are you going to be able to give him some words of encouragement to pick him up ahead of the race, like you do? We saw you doing it at the marathon.
I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's anything that I can do. But he knows more than me, but we're here supporting him, so I hope he feeds off our energy. Everyone at home, everyone here tonight, well, today, everyone here today, I hope he feeds off their energy, and he goes, and they both go out there and do a good job.
Anthony Joshua, thank you so much. Enjoy your first Formula E experience. Cheers.
Yeah, he already sounds like he knows his stuff, AJ, around Formula E. So let's get into Group B quickly. You noticed something a bit particular about this, the 4 drivers who finished top of the group.
They've all won the race here in Formula E. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be exciting. Clearly, the cream has risen to the top. We're going to see some amazing action in the duels. You've got 4 winners going head-to-head. So, yeah, it's going to be good.
I think it was Stoffel van Dorn who was quickest out of the lot. An impressive lap he put together.
Yeah, great news for DS Penske. I mean, they were last on the grid last year. They actually got disqualified from qualifying, started the race 21st to 22nd. Amazing lap from Stoffel. It was the fastest lap we've seen all weekend, as Karun touched on. Yeah, I mean, clearly there's more potential in that DS car than we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of Pascal Wehrlein in the duels. Another man we usually see in the duels, Jake Dennis. But, I mean, I would say big shock. You had a bit of a different reaction, though, when we spoke about it with Jake Dennis.
I don't think he needs to do qualifying. He finds his way to the front every race. I mean, he's a man that loves the podium, and I'm confident we're going to see him come through later on today.
Any predictions ahead of these quarterfinals? Anyone that you think really is looking like a favourite?
I'm really excited to watch what's going to happen. I think, you know, anyone's in with a shot. The two Jaguars look great, obviously, with Cassidy now catching up to Mitch. And then, you know, having Van Dorn up there doing the fast lap of the weekend, I'm excited to see if he and Jev can get on the top step as well.
All right, well, we've got it all to look forward to now in the duels coming up. And to enjoy it all with us, we've got David Coulthard, Tom Brooks and Karun Chandok.
Well, we're about to get going for the duels. We've got the quarterfinals coming your way soon. So we've got Gunther and Wehrlein up first, Acosta and Evans up next after that. We've got Bremy versus Cassidy, Vern versus Van Dorn, and for the last few sessions, the one who went out second got the best lap time and went through to the semi-finals. But with Monaco, anything can happen. Gunther versus Wehrlein up first, Ed. Who's your pick to go through to the semi-finals out of those two?
I've got to go for Pascal Wehrlein because I think the Wehrlein has got some amazing pace here. I think he's leading the championship. He's got a lot of momentum behind him. I think the Porsche is finally working well at Monaco. I think it's Wehrlein's time for shine. He's clearly much better at qualifying this season than he was last, where he was a bit more inconsistent. So he's finally got that win. 2 wins this season, with last time out Misano also taking victory right near the end from Roland after Roland ran out. So Pascal, I think he just needs to keep his head and he should prevail over Maximilian Gunther, who's very, very good. But even though it's the home team, I don't quite see the fairy tale happening for Maserati here.
It could be anyone's game, of course. Gunther had quite a lot of polls recently against Pascal Wehrlein, who's first in the championship, who has been the most consistent. It's going to be cutting it fine in terms of who gets it, but it depends on how that's going to work. Now, who is going to be... Oh, as Wehrlein got very, very close there to Gunther. I believe Gunther goes out first. So in my predictions, I think Wehrlein's going to make it through to the next stage of the duels, as it were. But you never know. Things can go completely haywire. As I thought our pictures were frozen there, but it's all good. It's just, yeah. So predictions, they seem to agree with me. 70% thinking Wehrlein's going to make it through versus Gunther with 30%.
Yeah, Gunther very much the underdog in this lineup. But he's shown well at Monaco in previous seasons. Maybe not. He did get involved in a crash last year in the actual race, but in qualifying he always seems to go pretty well here. As we look on board, you can see back of the grandstand there's a giant picture of Ayrton Senna as well, staring down at the drivers. So interested to see if either of these drivers can produce a Senna-like lap. Remember, Senna always used to have that visualization technique where he's close his eyes and, you know, picture the circuit and how to drive it. And remember him talking about that out-of-body experience he had here in 1988 as well. So it's definitely a track that pushes drivers to their limits and forces them to dig deep to produce a spectacular lap. And Pascal Wehrlein's done it a few times before this season. Let's see if he can do it once more to prevail over Maximilian Gunther.
Yeah, my pictures seem to be like a slideshow at the moment, so I'm gonna.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh it and see what happens, but yeah, it's still a slideshow at the moment. That's not gonna go down well if that's the case. I do have secondary pictures, but they're 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, we might have to rely on the timing screen here, Jess, which is okay for qualifying, but it's not going to be great come the race.
No, it's not going to be good for the race at all if we're just going to rely on timings. But
he can't. This is because Josh has got that. He's traveling today, so this is the setup we've got, isn't it? So
yeah, it is.
8 different series being broadcast at the same time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's doing MotoGP at the moment, qualifying, which I still need to put my pick a winner for that. as for all the sessions as well. It literally was posted this morning, so I'll need to remind me to post my pick of winners later on as well, because I'm keen to get involved in that, as we are seeing Maximilian Gunther. I'm going to get the live timings out, actually, because it's going to be hard to tell, as Gunther heads towards Sandevot now, as it's starting to be okay in terms of pictures now, so, but it's some sort of a slideshow. So we get to see the action with Verline on the right-hand side, which is great to see, and then we get to see Gunther on the left to see how that compare between the two of them. So past in towards Casino Square, in towards the first sector. Quite close between the pair of them in terms of the mini sectors, as Gunther is the one who's out first. It's around 87,000. Verline is quicker. Verline is quicker at the moment, so Verline looking quicker in the mini sectors. Gunther now heads towards past the hairpin and in towards the tunnel section. And you can see Verline just has the car more hooked in compared to Gunther in this lap.
Yeah, of course, he's getting second on the road, so he's immediately following in the wheel tracks of Gunther. But yeah, the Porsche looking well hooked up, and as you say, and Verline looking just pretty confident, not having to take a huge risk. He feels like he's very much at ease and almost at one with that car. 2.5 tenths up on Gunther so far in this lap. And try as he might, Maximilian Gunther, I don't think has anything in response here.
Oh, as Gunther is catching a little bit, just a tiny bit, but not a lot, as the checker flag is about to drop, as Gunther, first driver to cross the line. And what is it going to be for Gunther? It's going to be a 130.425. And we've got Pascal Verline heading towards the start-finish straight. I'm almost certain it's going to be enough for to go through to the next stage of the duels, as the pictures take a while to catch up with me. Yes, it is. 129.886, fastest time of the weekend. Purple in all three sectors, Ed. Verline is through to the next stage of the duels.
Yeah, very superb lap from Porsche and Verline there. So, as expected, he goes through. But nonetheless, solid effort by Gunther. That's still going to be somewhere in the top 8 that he will line up, as we see the slow-mo just in front of the PIF advertising hoarding, which seems to be mysteriously placed right next to the swimming pool chicane, next to the slow-mo camera. But anyway, not taking nothing away from Verline there. Superb lap that never really looked in doubt there. Obviously, we've seen, like, remember the F1 qualifying, Max Verstappen pushing in the final sector. We might see a little bit of that. But next group, Da Costa versus Evans.
81% Mitch Evans then think that Evans is going to get through to the next stage of the duel. Da Costa 19%. Don't forget, Da Costa has won in Monaco before, whereas Evans has not. Whereas Evans has had a better history of pole position than Da Costa, of course. But Da Costa is looking for much better luck here in this session, as we're running on board with Mitch Evans. Currently, he's about to start his lap time. But here is Da Costa as he makes his way towards turn number 1. Da Costa needs a much better weekend, and this could be the weekend to repeat history like he did in 2021, Ed.
I think he has said that if he wins, he's going to jump into the harbour then. So I imagine the fish quite... and if there's any fish there, they might be leaving the area before the end of the race, just in case. But yeah, Da Costa, we're going to see the time screens. You're going to see the laps side by side on screen, but Da Costa is much further ahead since he's going first, of course. But already up into Beaurivage, it's Evans that is starting to pull a 10th clear of Antonio Felix Da Costa. So Da Costa has got a lot of work to do if he wants to get into the semi-finals here.
Yeah, 26.437 for Mitch Evans. Da Costa 26.618 in the first sector. So this is very, very tight between the two of them. But at the moment, Mitch Evans does have the advantage. Going into, I can't tell what it is because it's like a slideshow. Oh, they're going in towards the tunnel. There we go. It's nice that we get the side-by-side action, which I hope we get for most laps, but I think they pick which laps to do so because they're both ever so tight.
It's hard to line up, isn't it, though? Effectively, one of these is a live picture and the other is slightly delayed.
One of it's delayed.
Look at Evans, nearly half a second up. Da Costa's really just not nailed this lap.
Yeah, Da Costa is struggling a little bit as well to hook the lap together. Whereas Evans, it's the car further home. Don't forget, he's topped every practice session so far in Monaco, and he's got the car more committed than Da Costa. And you can see Evans is just slightly ahead of Da Costa on this lap as you go on the side-by-side. As on the pictures, they both go up to the line. And it is Evans that is through to the next stage, 129.7. Not that far off Verline's time, but it's going to be Evans versus Verline in the semi-finals. I can't call it.
It's going to be tough to predict, yeah.
That is going to be tough to predict, but that is over then for Da Costa, but he's still going to start in a very good position for the Monaco E-Prix. But you can see Mitch Evans going almost sideways to get in the swimming pool.
Yeah, and really climbing over the curb too. So that really shows you how confident he is. Almost the first swimming pool chicane, you sort of have to straight line essentially. Now we're going to see Cassidy versus Buemi, Group 2, as I hurriedly swapped Cassidy into the Jaguar that Evans was just in. So 80% think Cassidy's going to beat Buemi here. I'm going to go against the grain. I think Buemi might be able to come on top here. Although unfortunately, he's had a very slow out lap. He's just overtaken Da Costa on his in lap. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the predictor vote. I'm going to go with Cassidy because he won last year, and if he doesn't get through to the semis, then I'll be completely shocked if he doesn't get through. So we got Bremy, who is about to start his lap time on our driver tracker. He's heading towards turn number 1 now, but the TV pictures are synced. I think we are going to see live laps then for Sebastian Bremy. Yes, we are through. Sander Vot, he goes. A much better session this morning compared to previous E-Prix. It's been in his first draw for quite a while, is Sebastian Bremy, whereas Nick Cassidy, he has got a lot to redeem himself for as well as he goes up the hill. So we'll see in the mini sectors. It's very close in the mini sectors between Cassidy and Bremy, but Cassidy's about almost 2 tenths quicker than Bremy in the first sector. So, again, the man who always goes out second is the one who goes through, and this is tend to be the case today. Bremy needs a sell of a middle sector and final sector in order to beat Cassidy here. But he is catching, though, Ed.
Yeah, same powertrain in the back of both these cars, of course. Jaguar at play here in Monaco, and Buemi. All Envision's hopes rest on him, and he's actually had a pretty good run through Portier, because he's now neck and neck with Cassidy, just 200ths between them, then 1 sector to go, and this is going to be where Buemi really has to give everything he's got here through these fast changes of direction through the swimming pool. But Cassidy's starting to come back.
Cassidy is actually tighter than we thought, but Cassidy's like, you know what, anything I could do, you could do, I could do better. So Bremy, he's going to set the benchmark for Cassidy to follow. What's it going to be for the Envision Racing car? He's looking to get through to the semi-finals for the first time in a while. It's a 130.140. But Cassidy is looking miles. But look at that. He's 3 steps up. He is 3 steps up. And it's Cassidy that is through to the next stage. 129.800. And he'll either face Van Dorn or Vern in the next stage. We've got a DS Penske quarterfinal, but for now, Cassidy is through to the semi-finals for the first time in ages.
Yeah, I get. It's been a while for Cassidy. Certainly,
this season,
to make a lot of ground in the races. Yeah, it's usually Evans that qualifies a lot better than him. But yeah, he really absolutely nailed that final sector. Actually having to correct midway through to back and swimming pool as well. So good car control from the Kiwi driver. And yeah, I've only got one DS Penske, so this is going to be a bit awkward after picking out the old Gen 2 car for Van Dorn. But there we go. So
it's quite even.
Pretty even Stevens. Yeah. Unsurprisingly, because Van Dorn topped the group, people are voting for him over Jev. I think Jev can do this one, though.
I think Jev as well. I'm certain that it's going to be Jev that gets through to the next stage, but you never know. I might be wrong, but the viewers might be right. But yeah, we're both going to go with Jev, the Frenchman. He's up first.
It's going to be ABS Penske that gets through, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a Penske that goes through, yes, with the one who bucked the trend last time out in Misano in the first race in the qualifying was Mitch Evans, who went out first both times actually. So if anyone could do it, maybe Vern can do it. But Van Dorn is out on his lap as well. Apologies about my voice, by the way. It's starting to go. I've got a bit of a sore throat, which is really bad timing, actually. I always tend to get ill when I go on holidays, after I go on holidays sometimes, which is a bit annoying. But here comes Vern as he heads towards the hairpin. It is all, I think it's all, I'm just trying to see the pictures because it's all Penske, so it's hard to tell. It's slightly in Van Dorn's favour in the first sector. Oh, it's so tight between the Penskes. Even though Vern is catching it, it's just all so close between the two teammates. I can't call it, Ed.
Yeah, it is tough to tell. I think they've also got very, very similar helmets for this round. It's almost like they're trying to copy one another.
Yeah.
But yeah, Van Dorn's pulling out a lot, so I think Jeff has not had the best run through Lowe's hairpin and Portier. And now it looks like Van Dorn really starting to stretch his legs here. So it looks like Stoffel, if he doesn't mess up the final sector, then he should be well on his way to getting into the semi-finals.
Yeah, Van Dorn looking so good in qualifying earlier on, so not really that surprising. And we got Jean-Eric Vergne who's about to cross the finish line to finish his lap. As he crosses the line, and on our timing screen, it's a 1:30.119 for Jean-Eric Vergne. I think Van Dorn is safely going to be in the 1:29s here.
Well, he's been losing time.
He's been losing time in that final set. It's going to be close between the two Penskes, and it is Van Dorn that's through by. Well, it's about a tenth of a second between the two Penskes, but Van Dorn. Yeah, Van Dorn just squeezes through from Jean-Eric Vergne.
Oliver Turvey looking quite quizzical expression there.
He doesn't know what to think, does he?
Yes, in the words of SoundCloud rapper DJ Spitz, I don't even know what to think anymore. but anyway,
is it Cassidy versus Van Dorn for the semi-finals, and then Evans versus Vergne? Oh, that's gonna. I think the first semi-final is gonna be the tightest one, but I think the second one's gonna be quite close as well. We're seeing a replay of one of the. I think it was
Vergne versus Evans would have been a great final as well. I think that was sort of the final I was kind of expecting, but because the way the knockout tournament has works with the duels,
you never know with Evans. He's done it before going out first. Oh, he's going out second this time.
But for Jaguar, this has really gone to plan because they've got two cars, and it's likely that at least one of them is going to get through to the final and potentially get themselves onto pole position. It would be quite the turn-up if Van Dorn can beat Cassidy and then get on pole, beating Evans or Vergne.
Yeah.
That would be quite something.
So Vergne beats Gunther, Evans beats DaCosta, Cassidy beats Bremy, and Van Dorn beats Jean-Eric Vergne. Van Dorn, the only driver out of the four that qualified to get to miss out on the 1:29, so you'll need a bit of a miracle. Fastest driver at the moment is Mitch Evans. So Mitch Evans looking like he is the fastest driver out there on circuit. But we got a bit of a break between from the quarterfinals to the semi-finals. Let's go back to Tom Brooks and the Formula E team for some more analysis from them of what went on in the quarterfinals.
You know the weather around here a bit better than most, David.
Yeah, you do get local weather patterns hanging behind the hills in La Turbie. But that was a beautiful image there that showed the hillside rising up, the Mediterranean. It reminds me of my art project that I did at school, which got me through my art exam.
You still got it?
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing which of these two drivers is going to progress forwards. We have seen in the semi-finals recently. Verline actually, of course, was in the semi-final in both of the Mazzano rounds, but he lost them on those occasions. And now he's just going to be sat here in the garage waiting for a fresh set of boots to go on the car, chatting to his race engineer and trying to do exactly what he did in the quarterfinals about 5 to 10 minutes ago.
He should do a little bit more, doesn't he? Because the Jaguars look quick. I think Cassidy's lap, he did a 29.8, but we saw a couple of mistakes. So I think there's probably a 29.5, 29.6 in the Jag. So he's going to have to dig deep here, Pascal Wehrlein.
I think that's the key thing, actually, in Monaco. They're so condensed into this one day. It's the person at this level doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking here then at Mitch Evans, getting himself ready to go. 29 duels he's won so far.
As we are about to get going then for the semi-finals of the duels, we've got Wehrlein versus Evans going out first. Again, like we were saying earlier, it's too close to call. But with the way Mitch Evans is looking in the practice, I'm going to have to go with Mitch Evans there. But these are the rundown of the semi-finals. Wehrlein versus Evans, Van Dorn versus Cassidy. What are your thoughts between Wehrlein versus Evans? Are you going to agree with me or are you going to disagree?
I'm probably going to disagree with you because I think Pascal Wehrlein's just in a really good run of form at the moment. I think he feels like he's got something to prove. Porsche desperately want to get a car onto the front row, and I think Wehrlein's going to give it absolutely everything and force Evans either into a mistake or beyond his limits somewhat. But yet, certainly the momentum so far today seems to be with Evans.
Yeah, as we got Mitch Evans 72%, as Pascal Wehrlein 28%. As we're about to get going. We might have a bit of a problem for future streams going forward. I will tell you, Ed, after the stream. A word beginning with D and then a second word beginning with B. Yeah, not good. Anyway, we're about to get going for some more action. As Wehrlein,
try and guess what that is.
I'll give you a clue. MotoGP. Anyway, Wehrlein is going out on circuit at the moment. As we just realised what has happened there as well. As the sun looks, the sea looks very, very gorgeous around here. It looks like it's pictures are kind of like absolutely crazy at the moment, but we will get there, of course. So Mitch Evans got the last few pole positions. Wehrlein won the last time out in Mazzano, so it's a very close way of going things. Now the pictures are running nice and smooth. We can commentate on this action.
Right as MotoGP ends, funnily enough.
What?
Right as MotoGP quality finishes, apparently. So, yeah, we're still going, of course. I think, did we talk about Muller getting his lap time deleted on stream?
Yeah, no, we didn't. I did. Yeah, Muller got his lap time deleted due to a technical infringement, I think. So he gets pushed back.
He's back of the grid, surely.
Yeah, I'm almost. I think it's all lap times as well, like we saw in Mazzano with, I think, one other person, I think, as well.
Anyway, there's so much pressure on these two, isn't there? On Evans and Wehrlein, they're both fighting each other for the championship, aren't they? So there could be points at stake at the end of this quali session in the final, but also they just desperately want to get the upper hand on each other on the grid. And the other, whoever loses will be slipstreaming the other come in a few hours' time, come the race.
So here we go then at semi-final one for ABB FIA Formula E Championship in the Monaco Week 3 is underway and Wehrlein is going up first. Wehrlein is looking to buck the trend, but Mitch Evans has been looking so much more consistent this weekend through the casino section. We're pretty much going to rely on the live timings at the moment as the pictures have a bit of a hissy fit once again as they head towards the Mirabeau chicane into the hairpin. And in the mini sectors, there's 5/100ths of a second separating those two. I did say it was going to be close. I didn't think it was going to be that close. So as they head towards the tunnel now, timings are not updating. Oh, no, it's Wehrlein. Oh, Wehrlein is quicker. Wehrlein is ahead. So he is definitely bucking the trend at the moment, Ed.
Yeah, I feel quite vindicated all of a sudden, despite getting a prediction wrong for the past couple of years.
You got your prediction right, it looks like.
Well, Evans could come back here. That final sector's so strong for the Jaguar, isn't it? So Verline, he's got to hope he can just hold on here through swimming pool and then into Rascast and Anthony Noakes. So this is all just going to come down to these last couple of corners then. Who nails it and who leaves a bit of time on the table? Evans is being dropped here by Pascal Verline.
Yeah, Verline is looking oh so quick in all two sectors. Evans is struggling, so Verline goes up to the line with a 129.759. That is insanely quick for Pascal Verline. But what can Mitch Evans do? He's dropped back by 0.3 per second. And yeah, Evans is struggling for Anthony Noakes. Just look at the way he's got the car unsettled. But this could be the first section where the guy that's gone out first gets through to the finals, and it is. Pascal Verline is through to the finals. It could be and will be starting on the front row. Mitch Evans will be starting third or fourth. Well done, Verline.
Wow, the person who went out first won. The world is ending.
Well, that's a good
It
thing.
no longer makes any sense, does it? Yeah, it is good.
It is good. I'm expecting Van Dorn to beat Cassidy here in the second semi-final.
That is a bold pick. But yeah, look at Verline. He just absolutely nailed that right when he needed to. So take nothing away from him. Superb lap.
Look how he took that
dog.
swimming pool section. That was insane.
Yeah, full commitment, especially when the rear tyres are so drifting. Look at he cut across the chicane, did Evans. So that lap wasn't going to count anyway because he definitely cut the track there.
Yeah, it looked like it as well. And I wonder if he'll have his lap time deleted for that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But next up, Van Dorn versus Cassidy, and the popular vote seems to be with Mr. Nick Cassidy and not with Stoffel Van Dorn. So, yeah, Van Dorn very much the underdog here, the Season 8 champion. So let's see what he can do here, of course. He's a former winner of the Monaco E-Prix, desperate to taste that champagne once more, but he needs to really hook up qualifying if he wants to have a chance of getting that pole position and the 3 points that come with it.
Oh, Mitch Evans' lap time deleted due to that corner cut.
There we go. So that won't hurt him too much because he didn't get through anyway. So he will stay fourth at best fourth at best because he can't. He hit into that lap time.
He didn't just cut it. He cut it massively, Ed.
Yeah, he kind of it's because he got the entry from the tunnel into the chicane wrong, so the rear end was just going on him, so he sort of had no option at the mid corner point but to bail. But yeah, there we go. Cassidy though up on this lap as expected, to be honest. So Stoffel Van Dorn first on the road. Again, he's sort of is he sweeping a little bit to clear the way for Nick Cassidy here, somewhat unintentionally.
Yeah, might be as well as Van Dorn losing a bit of time to Cassidy. So my prediction could be wrong yet again. Don't ask me for lottery numbers tonight because it's not going to work well. So as Van Dorn, he's going to head towards Wimpole section. I don't think he takes it as committed as what we saw Cassidy, but he found a bit of time through there as he heads towards Anthony Noakes now. As Cassidy, I think, is improved quite a bit in the middle. Oh, Van Dorn's purple middle sector. Van Dorn is purple middle sector, so they are even Stevens, but is it going to be enough for Van Dorn to beat Cassidy's time? Cassidy just needs to nail that final corner.
Oh, he's not had a good final sector, Jess. Look, he's 4 attempts down.
Yeah, he lost it in the final corner. He was fastest in all, and Van Dorn's through. If it wasn't for that final corner, Cassidy would have gone through, but it is Van Dorn versus Verline for the grand final, a final we would not predicted, but Cassidy just had too much pressure there. But I think expected for Van Dorn due to the fact that he was very quick in his qualifying session earlier on.
So not a big loss for Nick Cassidy because he will still start third. But yeah, surprising, no Jaguars on the front row of the grid then at the end of this. So Van Dorn really had to hold on there, and he did a really, really solid job. But it's going to be Van Dorn versus Verline.
That swimming pool section again. But not as much as what we saw Verline do earlier. But still, that's what gained in the time was that swimming pool chicane.
I think it was a mistake from Cassidy. Look.
Yeah, because Cassidy was Cassidy was green. No, Van Dorn was purple in the middle sector and final.
Pool, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a shame for Cassie, but he's still going to be starting in a good place. It's not over yet.
And ahead of his teammate, crucially.
Yes, ahead of his teammates. So so obviously Verline versus Evans. Verline knocked Evans out, and Van Dorn knocked Cassie off. And we could be in for an interesting finals as the tension heats up between Penske and Porsche. I think it was Evans versus Penske. It was Vern versus Evans in race 1 last time, and then as I meet the TV pictures, and it was Van Dorn versus Hughes. No, not that. Vern versus Hughes, and Penskes both started on the front row as well. So I know what my prediction is, but I don't know. It's time. I need to check timings of when the finals will take
pole
place.
Positions for DS Penske so far this season, Jess. So Van Dorn could try and change that. Well, he's going to try and change it. Whether he will is another matter. But Verline is going to be quite tough to beat.
We are starting in a few minutes. 11:56 local time, 10:56 our time, of course. I'm actually going to check to see. I would throw down to the Formula E crew, but we only got a few minutes. To be honest, I don't see the point. So 2023 Monaco E-Prix, who got pole? It was Jake Hughes that got pole.
Hughes,
yeah, it was Hughes. Van
Dorn
went.
Sacha Benesfred lost his lap because he set faster time, but.
So when
I think
did Van
Hughes
Dorn?
cut the chicane, but got to keep the lap. While,
Van Dorn started at the back. Both Penske started at the back.
Yes, because they both got disqualified for a technical infringement, so they both started at the back and got through into the points by the end. Both of them, I think Jev was ahead, if I remember correctly, in 8th, and I think Van Dorn was 9th, something like that.
It was low tire pressure. That was it. Yeah. Yeah. But hopefully they don't have low tire pressure here, please, because I don't want to see either Van Dorn or Verline get disqualified. Especially, I don't want to see the Porsche disqualified after the appeals that they've been having with their other driver, Da Costa. So let's hope it doesn't happen.
Porsche don't end up with like a backlog of appeals for everything that goes wrong for them this season. It would almost feel a bit like the common denominator is not the FIA being draconian and overly ridiculous with the rules. It might be Porsche not being able to read them and falling for them.
Yeah, exactly. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to know what the MotoGP result is, you can mute for 5 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, you don't want to know?
No, I don't mind either way.
Well, I won't tell you that.
YouTube chat already. So.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Marc Marquez got pole position.
Yeah, I think SHT. I saw that coming from him earlier.
Yeah, no spoilers, please, next time, SHT. Because I kind of wanted to see that, but no, I can't. Because I was going to watch your Discovery Plus after this. But yeah, Marc Marquez starting on pole for the main race tomorrow. And then we got the sprint race this afternoon as well, which clashes with Formula E. How could they?
Them's the breaks, Jess.
Yeah.
Got to fit it all in somehow.
Yeah, we do.
We have enough trouble avoiding WEC, don't we, with Formula E? Let alone MotoGP on 2.
Oh yeah, because for Berlin, we got a few drivers going from Formula E to WEC, and then we got a few of the reserve drivers filling in. So
exactly, yeah. Laren, Jordan King, Joel Eriksson, and it's Kelvin van der Linde, I think, filling in for Muller at Abt as well. So
wow,
see all of those in action. It's almost a shame the Vision didn't put Alice Powell in the car, but I think she is at least doing some testing with them at least. So she does get actually to go on track.
Or has she got other commitments?
I don't think she would have for Berlin unless she was actually preferring to go to a Grand Prix to be part of the Channel 4.
I wonder. Oh yeah, I wonder if she's going to do some punditry. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know. I feel like Alice Powell would probably prefer to drive a Formula E car than be talking about Formula 1 on Channel 4. Ask any racing driver; they much prefer to get some seat time. And I feel a bit sorry for Alice Powell because I feel like
it would have been good. It would have been good to get a female in Formula E, but.
Well, we have
Garcia, who's doing the next rookie test in Berlin, which is in 2 weeks' time, which I believe will be on a Friday.
It's almost a shame because I feel like ERT had done it for a couple of headlines rather than actually evaluating her for any kind of future drive there. So we see Van Dorn about to leave the pit lane.
Yeah, because Garcia is doing Frecker with Dorian as well. Iron Damned as well, which is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But enough talk. Let's unmute the TV pictures as we are about to get underway for the finals. It's Van Dorn versus Verline. Van Dorn looking very consistent, but he hasn't got to the 129s yet. My suspicions that if it's based on lap time, I think Verline has got this in the bag. But anything can happen here as well. Starting pole here is crucial around Monaco because there are some hard overtaking spots, but try saying that's for Formula E driver and they say, oh yeah, you could overtake. And there we go, it's the head-to-head. There we go, the head-to-head between Van Dorn and Pascal Wehrlein. 80% favouring Pascal Wehrlein and Van Dorn 20%. So I'm going to have to agree with the 80% and go Wehrlein due to his times this weekend compared to Van Dorn's. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah. And it's said in the head-to-heads in previous duels when they faced each other, it's 4-0 in favour of Pascal Wehrlein. But there's a first time for everything. And Van Dorn's main strength in this qualifying session is that he just seems to get really lucky and the other drivers make mistakes at crucial moments and he doesn't. So is it going to happen again? I have a feeling Wehrlein is probably going to take this, but a little part of me would love to see Stoffel Van Dorn on pole.
I would love to see Van Dorn on pole, really, because he's getting, I think, a better hand at the Penske than last year, of course, because it was his debut in the Penske, due to obviously Mercedes not being in Formula E anymore, being moved to McLaren. But Van Dorn will need a good lap time in order to do so. But the kilowatts of power have been increased for this final, so they could go fully at it as well, get to know the limits of the car a little bit more. As we see a lovely helicopter shot of the Monaco circuit, which we will get to race at later on. And coverage for that pre-show starts at 1:30 with the Formula E team before you get to hear a bit of us, and then we get to hear a bit of the race. Mainly because of my voice. We would speak more, but my voice is playing up, and I need my voice for IndyCar later on. But what does Van Dorn need to do in order to be ahead of Wehrlein? Because he needs to find, I think, about a full second.
Quite possibly. I think he just needs to get the max he can out of the car and hope that something happens to Wehrlein. That's really his best opportunity. I think it's not going to come down to a straight fight in terms of overall performance this final. But anyway, I know your voice isn't feeling 100%, Jess, but I appreciate you doing your best here. So
yeah,
I'll try and cover when I can, and best of luck.
Thanks. So here we go then. The finals for FIA Formula E Monaco E-Prix, as we could see, Stoffel Van Dorn going out first then. Flips the car through, Sander Vot in to the right-hand side of Casino. And it's looking, I think, a bit more decent, but Wehrlein is soon to be having the advantage in the first mini-sector so far compared to Van Dorn, but we will see the full times going in towards Sector 1 coming up now. And Wehrlein's found a lot of time in that first sector. 26.446, just a tenth quicker than Van Dorn, but he's catching a little bit through into the tunnel section. Flips the car left, as we've seen in 96. Damon Hill losing his hydraulics there, losing his engine, which allowed Olivier Panis to take the victory that day. 96, his one and only victory back then as well. Oh, look at that. Wehrlein is just fully committed into that car on the right-hand side through the tunnel, heading towards to back now. 38.204 is Van Dorn's Sector 2 time currently.
Look how close Pascal Wehrlein got to the wall at the chicane there as well. It's millimetre perfect. Into the back as well on the entry.
He might have lost time there. Oh, Wehrlein's still purple. Wehrlein is still purple, and he's 3 temps up. So here comes Van Dorn then.
Anything on the table here.
Yeah, Van Dorn, both of them are leaving everything on the table, but Van Dorn goes up to the line with a 130.3. But Wehrlein, despite hitting the wall, is looking like he's going to be favourite for pole position in today's Monaco E-Prix. Can he do it? Oh, that is very comfortable for Wehrlein. A 1:29.861. Verline is on pole for today's Monaco E3 by quite a comfortable margin, about 5/6 of a second. So that was brilliant from him. So Verline continuing where he left off in Misano. You got the win in Misano, and he's got pole here.
Yeah, he did an absolutely superb job throughout that qualifying session. We all thought the crucial hurdle to overcome was Mitch Evans, wasn't it? And he did that superbly. That I think a lot of people thought Evans was going to trounce him comfortably, and he surprised them all because Evans really faltered in the final sector. And Pascal Wehrlein now absolutely leads the championship by 3 points over Jake Dennis, having an equal going in. He's now got those 3 points for pole position, so that puts Wehrlein really on a high going into the race. But the race could be a very, very different story because we know the Porsche not necessarily the most efficient at this type of circuit compared to the Jaguars and the Nissans that line up close behind. And the DS is going to be the big question mark because they were quite strong here last year as well before the Maseratis, I think, got taken out, and the DS Penske's just climbed up the order as well. So I think Van Dorn could still be a threat, even though he didn't quite have enough in the tank to really go for pole position there.
Yeah, and I think Verline must be very happy with that. Hopefully we get to hear a bit of the team radios. I probably potentially do my magic. So as soon as we get it on the backup pictures that I've got, I will play it so you can get to hear it a little bit. As I hope the weather's like this for the race because it's just nice and sunny. But track evil, we've got the radio. Hold on, radio.
That was perfectly executed. Perfectly executed.
I think I called it at the wrong time there, right? That was quite bad for me.
I heard perfect execution from the engineer there. Which,
but didn't hear anything from Verline itself. No. But yeah.
Sure,
Hopefully we get Tim. Obviously, Nikki Shields will be interviewing Pascal Verline in just a minute. The Porsche garage, I'm very, very happy with that as well. Especially with obviously DaCosta not making it through, whereas Porsche are celebrating with Verline, of course.
DaCosta's still going to be top 8 somewhere.
Yeah, he's still going to be top 8. Yeah, he's still in the mix as well. He can overtake it.
Look at Sam Bird's hand there in the cast already.
Oh, God, yeah, that looks awful.
Yeah, I hope the bone hasn't been exposed or anything.
It's not looking good for it's not looking good for McLaren drivers because obviously David Malukas is still recovering from a wrist injury and he's still not racing in Barber this weekend. So it's two different series where people are having injuries. The question is his hand injury going to be recovered by the time we get to Berlin? Oh, no, wait, Bird's going to be in WEC, isn't he?
No, I think he committed to McLaren.
Oh, he's committed to McLaren. But is he going to be well enough for Berlin in 2 weeks' time?
It's sort of 50-50. It depends how bad the hand injury is, isn't it? Remember how long Freins was out? He was out for like 3 months last season. I wanted to rush his recovery. I think we'd sort of told to take it a bit easier. And I think I think to an extent it has paid off because he's been returned to the podium once or twice since then within Vision. So probably is the wiser call to take it a bit easier for Sam Bird, let Taylor Barnard maybe fill in for Berlin. I mean, everyone else is having drivers fill in for them in Berlin. It seems like he's not a title contender, so may as well, I guess.
Yeah, I think for some people that are not going to be at Berlin, they're going to be huge points lost. But we still obviously got Monaco
to
more
painful in the teams table than the drivers because neither in Vision is really right in the mix in the drivers' championship. Let's be honest.
Even though when we got through to the Jules, but obviously Monaco and Berlin are different tracks, of course. I thought we were going to hear from Nikki, or have they got a separate room where they're going to for interviews?
I think so, yeah, we'll have to see. I think because Van Dorn is still getting out of the car, because they tend to do it in the order of whenever they show up in front of Nikki Shields, don't they? But
no, they just show one driver. They just show the pole man.
Oh, that's true. The pole sitter, so we'll just hear from Verline then. But yeah, Berlin is actually a completely different layout this season, isn't it? So not just is it a different circuit to Monaco, it's a different circuit to itself in previous seasons. So we'll have to see. I think
Is
it's a
it doing it
shorter
both
layout, and
ways
they're going to
again?
fit 4 more laps in. No,
Is it?
it's a new layout, completely new layout. I think it's slightly shorter than usual, so they'll be able to fit
Oh.
in more laps in.
And
which is
I'm
good for
missing
the
it because I'll be on
spectators.
holiday. Well, I'll be on holiday with my friend.
That's okay. Is that in the place that you've been talking about?
And no, it's a different one.
The seaside resort place, right? Okay.
No, it's a different one, but it's by the seaside. So another place by
Okay,
the
I
seaside.
didn't
But
want
it's
to
a
talk to you
absolute
in that case.
nightmare to get on the train. It is an absolute nightmare to get on the train. As I think
Anyway, looks like they're gearing up.
yeah, they're gearing up, and it's going to give me like a 20-second warning. So I'm going to have the backup pictures on in the background so I can hear if they do go to it, and then I can just throw to them straight away then. It's a nice warning. It's a nice warning, so I may as well go to the battle screen and hear from Nicky Shields as she speaks to Pascal Wehrlein.
Make the pilgrimage here for the E-Prix. Let's catch up then with Pascal Wehrlein after taking his 3rd pole position of the season here in Monaco.
Well, Pascal Wehrlein, those 3 valuable points now puts you at the top of the championship leaderboard and your 3rd pole this season. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a nice qualifying already. FP2, we improved quite a bit from FP1, where I wasn't happy with the car at all. So yeah, good to bounce back like this. Very happy about our performance. You know, all my laps were pretty close to each other and just a tenth apart, I think, from my first duel to the last one. So yeah, clean laps, good car, and very happy.
Yeah, your consistency in Formula E, both in qualifying and the race, has hit a new high.
Yeah, it's going well. We worked hard over the winter, and I think we understood a lot of things better. So it's good to see that the hard work is paying off.
Excellent. Well, let's get you presented. Let's introduce Albert Enrique, who is the CEO of Julius Baer Bank in Monaco, and present you with your 3rd trophy of the season. Congratulations to Pascal Wehrlein.
Thank you. Well done. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. On your own. Yep. Merci.
Well, pole position then for Pascal Wehrlein here. As I mentioned, his 3rd of the season for Tag Heuer Porsche. Makes it his 6th overall in his Formula E career as well. Can he make it win number 7 this afternoon or win number 3 of the season? We will find out in due course. But another Julius Baer pole position trophy for the German driver to take home nonetheless. Let's catch up with Stoffel van Dorn then, 2nd on the grid, a 1st ever front row for DS Penske here in the Principality.
Well, Stoffel van Dorn, what a turnaround for the race here in Monaco. It's going to be a good day.
Well, it started pretty okay, starting from 2nd for the race, which is always good here around Monaco. I think we're a little bit on the back foot in practice, but we had a very strong qualifying. Just missing out a little bit on that final duel. The tires kind of not really coming to life, so missing a little bit of lap time. But you know, we're in a great position to have a good race.
It's been a challenging season for you so far, currently in P11th in the standings, but we're now at the midway point. This is a great time to put some valuable points on the board.
Well, it's always a good time. But yeah, it would be nice to achieve that here in Monaco. It's kind of a home race for me as well. We've got a special livery on the car, so yeah, it would be nice to bring home a good result.
Yeah, the car looks amazing, so good luck. Thanks very much, Stoffel van Dorn.
So we just heard from Stoffel van Dorn as he chatted to Nicky Shields there. We're about to wrap up, but we will go through your order for this afternoon's E-Prix. So if I find the driver tracker, there we go. So we got Wehrlein on top, then we got Van Dorn, Cassidy, Evans, Verne, Bremy da Costa, Gunther, Freitz, Deruvel are your top 10, and then there'll be Seta Kamara, Mortara, De Vries, Benestraz, Oliver Rowland starting in 15th, Jake Hughes, Lucas Degrassi, Jake Dennis, Nato, Dan Tipton, Nico Muller, with his lap times lead, he'll be starting at the back with Taylor Barnard. Before we close then, Ed, your final thoughts going into the main race, of any surprises, or what do you think?
I think for some people are surprised that Mitch Evans didn't get on pole, but because he will still start P4 I think Roland was the big disappointment, falling in the first group. Van Dorn, a major surprise, getting onto the front row. It'd be interesting to see if the DS Penske's can stay both in the top 6 come the checkered flag. I have a feeling this is going to come down to a straight fight between Verline, who of course now leads the championship, Cassidy, Evans, and potentially whoever can make their way through that sort of top 10 pack. Maybe the likes of Gunther can still get involved as well. It will have to see how strong that DS powertrain is, because it does seem to be a lot stronger this season compared to last, but we'll have to see if it's good enough to can fight for the win here at Monaco. It certainly was in Tokyo, which was a similar-ish sort of circuit, but Gunther is going to, I think, struggle to get through some of the really top-quality drivers ahead of him. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see everyone trying to save energy, but also it shouldn't be pack racing. It should be fairly even-handed and fairly chaotic in terms of people not trying to crash into the back of each other. But I think we should get the type of racing that we love to see for the most part. And I just hope it doesn't end in tears for too many of these drivers like it did last season.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't really, to be honest, but you live and you learn sometimes.
I think everyone does. I like to feel they do.
Yeah. But anyway, that is it then for the qualifying coverage. We'll be back at 1:30 for the pre-show. But up next in around about an hour's time, just over an hour, we got free practice 2 for Donington Park National for the British touring cars. Thank you for joining us. I've been Jess Ball, he's been Ed Hunter, and we will see you in about a couple of hours' time for some E3 action around Monaco. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.